All right, guys, here we are. It's Mark's truck. I mean, nothing real big. It's not too big of a deal. I mean, some of the cab mounts are shot. Well, here's one of them right there. It just fell out the bottom. Basically, all the backs. See that? The rubber's gone. The top one looks kind of, sort of. It should be flush with that outside line, whatever. The middles look all right. The fronts look all right. Those are gone. So bare minimum, we need the two at the back and the two right at the driver and passenger feet. But here we are again. I'm at this point now where I hate. I mean, it sucks. Look at the exhaust. Let me flip you upside down and you look down there. It's touching. Like it's on it, just resting on it. That's probably why it wasn't much noise heard, because it's resting on it. We already took the clamp off right here. Now I want everything to work, but I don't know how well it's gonna work, because once you put those clamps on, put that clamp on right there and it bends that, yeah, there is no getting that back. I mean, you can try and fight and scream and cuss and moan, and all we'll do is just wind up wasting a bunch of time trying to get that apart. So, yeah, I'm pretty unhappy about that. Haven't taken it apart yet. We're going to try to... hey, my phone battery about died. Hang on. Okay. I mean, half tempted, honestly, right now to just cut it off and cut about an inch out of it. It needs to be further up in the pipe. Which some of this aftermarket exhaust, it doesn't actually work to go halfway up. I mean, that's, well, yeah, you can barely even move it. I can barely even move it. It's actually sitting on it. So it's, you know what, honestly, here, I'm going to say it, in a perfect world, because I am not an aftermarket exhaust, what do you call it, an aficionado? Or whatever the hell they call that shit, I don't know. I'd say buy a new exhaust. I hate to say it, but I would. Just buy a new freaking exhaust, or, gosh, I mean, they're really not that expensive. I mean, this going to 5-inch. I mean, the 5-inch back at the back, that'd be fine. It'd be nice to just buy something that we can go from the 5-inch up. Because, I mean, anytime we get into this, like this 4-inch downpipe, in order to make everything line up, look, that's sitting on it. That's about to chew itself through there, right? But this hanger looks great. Well, kind of. I mean, if we could put a rubber hanger on there, we could put a hanger back on here, and it's almost in the right spot. Very rarely do they actually put the connections to where you put this funky, cheesy little U-bolt bull crap to where you put that on and it actually lines up with the hangers. Very, very rarely does that ever happen. Well, what I'm saying, 95% of the time it does not happen. They don't line up. They're off. I mean, hell, I've done it before where I'd move the hangers around. There's all kinds of holes in the frame. But everything went good except the exhaust. Everything seems to be fairly decent. And that's like touching. It just sucks because once I take this apart, I mean, we're going to have to cut it. I mean, honestly, I'm not working around that downpipe. But we'll have to get a 4-inch band clamp. Those band clamps are good, which part of me says to go ahead and cut it right here, because I don't even know if I can get, I'm sure we can get a 5-inch band clamp. Why don't you call and see real quick, Julie? Because if we can get a 5-inch, I'll do it right here where it's nice and easy. And then we'll take the entire downpipe off the truck. That way everything's out of the way. But that, I just don't know what to do with that. Because once we do, let's say I cut it. Say we cut it right there and we take, even 1.5 inches off of it. Take 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches off of it. Then we'll clear the cross member. but nothing will line up here. A lot of times what I found is we take that out, the hanger is going to be way up here, and the rubber hanger is going to be sideways to line up. And, you know, it just, none of it fits. I mean, none of the aftermarket exhaust fits. Nothing fits. So you have to kind of, I mean, if we got to fab, do some fab work on it or do some changing, I mean, we can, but it's just, we run the risk of actually costing more than buying exhaust. And honestly, we're not even talking about buying the exhaust. I mean, what I would be really happy with would be just to buy a 4-inch downpipe. I mean, honestly, buy a 4-inch downpipe and we'll make it work. The main kicker is because this connection was not pushed far enough up. If that connection is pushed far enough up in there, and now I'm just reiterating quite a bit because the internet ninjas will jump all over this crap and say, oh, yeah, whatever the hell they say, I don't know. But when you smash that like that with that U-bolt, you're not going to move. I mean, you might move it. I might move it. I might be able to move it. But history has shown that that is a pain in the freaking butt. Once it's smashed like that, good freaking luck. I mean, what we do always in this bay is they always come in with clamps right here. I eliminate it and we weld it. I mean, once it's set, we'll weld it. But the kicker is getting it lined up. I mean, we could, I guess, go ahead and cut it off and put it up there and tack it where we want it and then take it back in the back and weld it all up. But we would have no slip in flange. It would be just straight 2 pieces of pipe welded together is what it would be. So that kind of sucks. I'd rather have it slide in and then weld it. But yeah, I just thought I'd show that. I'm going to tinker with that for a little bit. AC, I think, was working. It recovered a little low. Power steering pump looks like crap. I wish we had more battery cables because this thing sure could use a battery cable. The alternator was only pushing 13 at the most, so that little bastard needs to go. We have been, here's what his parts are going to look like. Got some of them going, some of them clean, some of them final cleaned, ready to go back on the truck. I found that it takes more time for initial disassembly, but it takes a lot less time when it comes time to put it back together if we just suck through all of them like we go through the bolts. And it ain't just keeping them organized. They're also painted. We wire brush, paint the bolts. Every single bolt in the whole damn engine. Pick a bolt, pick a bag. Yeah. It's just, I mean, probably I feel it kind of makes a difference between a kind of nice job and a freaking very, very kick-ass job. So it ain't that freaking hard to do. It's time consuming, but the end, like the bolt don't mean shit. Who gives a damn if it's painted or not? Well, I mean, I kind of do. I mean, I kind of like it to look good. I mean, hopefully after all these years, people have seen that. I mean, we can make them run good, but why can't we make them look good and run good at the same time? That'd be cool. So I just wanted to make a video of, mainly the whole reason for this video was that exhaust. Because we're about to start hacking, cutting, banging, beating. The phrase I use would be, if Mark was here right now, when we get it all off, the phrase I use would be, Mark, take that out in the backyard and beat the shit out of yourself with it. Because that's the phrase I would use. Because, I mean, it sounded mean as hell, but it just doesn't fit. Like it rubs. So we're gonna, I mean, I've spent so many hours. One truck, I spent 6 hours rebending the bends with a rosebud and bars, getting long bars and actually changing it. Well, that was like at 10 o'clock at night or something like that. We was almost done with the job, ready to drop the cab, and I'm like, we don't have time to order exhaust. We don't have time to do this, but I would have much rather have ordered. It was almost, and that specific job, I would have bought the exhaust my damn self if I would have known in hindsight or in future sight, whatever the hell you want to say, that I was going to have that much problem getting it to line up. and getting it to line up fine. It's lined up now, but I ain't happy with it. It ain't what I'd want to send out, not at all. So lining up and being happy with it are not always the same thing. So I'm just about pushing, let's just buy a 4-inch downpipe and then hope it clears. I don't even know where you'd get a 4-inch downpipe at. I mean, I'm sure there are companies that sell them, but then you worry about look, he had no rubbing going on. We got the top all done. This is a Texas truck, guys. It looks freaking good. There is no rust anywhere. We'll get the engine out and then we'll do the frame. But, yep. My main rant was about the exhaust, so that's it. All right, guys, have a good day.